Okay. Oh, hi ACT. Candace Moore here. I'm sorry I can't be there today to talk about my play in person, but I thought I'd send in a video instead for you guys to watch. Yay. A little bit about myself before I dive into my play. My name is Candace Moore. I am a junior here at the university studying psychology with a theater and education minor. I've worked with ACT several times. I love this organization. It's so much fun. My most recent thing I did with ACT was last fall. I got to direct my first show with them called In the Next Room with a Vibrator play, which is an incredible experience. I'm so glad I got to do it and work with everybody. Everybody was great. It was so much fun. And I kind of fell in love with directing through that, so I kind of knew I needed to direct something else this upcoming year, and I decided on a play called The Pillowman by Martin Mcdonagh. It's an incredible play. I love it so much. But before I dive into it, I'll tell you about the playwright a little bit. He is an Irishman. He's 44 years old. He has written a few plays and mostly likes to write screenplays. Like he wrote The Seven Psychopaths, if you've ever heard of that. His play, The Pillowman, was his first non-Irish play, and it was nominated for Tony Award for Best Play as well as a Drama Desk Award, which is pretty cool, I thought. The play itself is only $100 per performance, which I think is pretty good. It's pretty cheap. It's set in modern day. It can be set in any time, but I'm going to set it in modern day, I think, so it's cheaper. The costumes are modern, so it's pretty cheap, pretty good. The set is an interrogation cell as well as a child bedroom, so it's 2 rooms on one stage. Again. But yeah. Let's see, the play itself, the plot. Okay. In a totalitarian state, Kachurian, a writer of short stories which often depict violence against children, has been arrested by 2 stereotypical detectives, Ariel and Topolsky, because some of his stories resemble recent child murders that are occurring around them. When he hears that his brother McCall, who is learning difficulties due to an abusive childhood, has confessed to the murders and implicated Kachurian, he resigns himself to his execution, but attempts to save his stories from destruction. The play includes both narrations and reenactments of several of Kachurian's stories as well as flashbacks to his childhood. So during the story, it's like set in the interrogation cell, but there are times when it'll be just Kachurian and he talks like about a past event in his childhood or explains one of his stories that is occurring while like one of the stories that someone is reenacting to kill these children in his town, and all of this is being acted out on stage as well, which is pretty cool. The character list. There is Kachurian, who is a young male writer of gruesome short stories often involving the murder of children. He's very attached to his work, and he's a caretaker to his brother. He was raised by his loving parents, and they crazy. Please. Anyway. But they are forced to make him write, and he wrote happy stories in the beginning, and then they inflicted upon him the sounds of physical torture of his brother McCall in a separate room, so he would write scarier stories and become more famous, which is sick and twisted. Whatever. Then there's McCall, who's Kachurian's brother. He's slower, he has learning disabilities, and he's often compared to Lenny from Of Mice and Men, I think, if you've ever read that, because of this abuse that he suffered as a child from his parents. He's a sweet and loving young man, and he just wants to please his talented brother Kachurian. Love him so much. Then there's Topolsky, who is the lead detective on the case. He's the good cop, and he comes across as cold. I know I'm quoting a lot, whatever. And there's Ariel, who's another cop. He's the bad cop. He's brutal and violent, and he has a vendetta against anyone who commits crimes against children because of the abuse from his own past. He's forceful and likes to yell and stuff. Topolsky and Ariel could really be women, or a woman, a man. It doesn't really matter. It's not terribly gender specific, so I think if we had like a really tough woman, they could play one of the cops, which is, I think, pretty cool. They're pretty funny because they're so stereotypical, like good cop, bad cop. It's like you'd see on TV. They play off each other really well in the first act. It's pretty funny. And then there's the parents, who are psychotic. They don't talk a lot, but they're mostly used in the reenactments of the stories that Kachurian tells on stage. And then there's a little girl who reenacts one of his short stories on stage called The Little Jesus, and she's supposed to be 8 to 11 years old, but I think as long as I find a girl that's smaller that looks pretty young, I could be fine working with that, which would be cool, I think. The themes of the play are the effects of abuse, parental abuse, the importance of conserving art, the effects of literature that it can have on us, and how we should fight to keep it alive. I think the importance of conserving art is going to be something that hits home with a lot of theater goers and theater kids as well, just because I think as a craft, like, theater is so important to us, and we put so much into it, like our heart, our soul, our time, our energy, everything into making these shows and these productions and everything. And, you know, we want them to be seen, them to be appreciated, and to show off our hard work and show off our talent and our craft. And I think that's a lot of what Couturian does with his work as well, because he puts his work before everything, and even his own life at some points. He just wants people to see what he's done, and as a writer do his job and be an author and let people read his talented works, which are incredible. They're a little scary, but they're incredible stories that he's written. Well, Martin Mcdonagh, technically. So the play itself, I think, is interesting for ACT to do, because it is so different than anything I think they've ever done, because it's a dark comedy, sort of. So it's funny in a lot of parts. There's a lot of funny parts, because McCall's pretty funny, as well as the cops. But it's also, like, really captivating and kind of scary, and I think that's interesting, because I don't think we've ever done anything that is technically scary, you know? And I don't know if scary is the right word. It's just chilling. It's something riveting, something you just want to, like, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, because you're like, what's going to happen? It's really, because reading it the whole time, I was like, oh my god! So I think ACT goers would really benefit from seeing a show that's so different than anything we've ever done. And I love this play, and I really, if you guys don't choose it, I really, really would advise you to read it at least, because it is so good, and it's something you'll enjoy, I promise. And I'm going to shut up now, so, because Chris is probably going to kill me. So, bye guys. Please read this play, because it is so good. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll make you scream, all the good things, all the feels. Thanks guys for listening.